Ever hear about investors who just seem to know, which way the market's going to swing next? Like
Hmm.
they've got some kind of sixth sense for spotting those long-term trends.
Yeah.
Well, today we're diving into one of their potential secrets, position trading.
Okay.
And now, before you picture someone like glued to a screen, freaking out over every little tick of the market,
Right, right.
this is different.
Yeah, yeah.
It's more about, honestly, like taking a deep breath, embracing the long game, maybe even putting your feet up on the desk a little bit. Because position trading is
Yeah.
all about patience.
It is, yeah. It's less about trying to catch every wave and more about sort of charting a course through the ocean, trusting that the tide will eventually carry you to your destination.
Okay, I love that analogy. So while our day traders are out there sprinting, trying to make a quick buck,
Right.
position traders are kind of in it for the long haul.
Exactly. They are. They are. Think months, years, maybe even a decade in some cases.
Wow.
Holding on to those stocks for the long game, riding out the short-term dips and spikes in the market.
Really riding the wave.
Yeah, exactly. To capitalize on those bigger, more substantial trends.
Now we're talking. But how do they figure out which way the market's actually going?
Right.
Like, what's their compass, so to speak?
Well, our main source today is this article from the IFL Knowledge Center. And they actually break this whole approach down.
Okay.
And they call position trading this perfect blend of the piece of investing with the gains of trading.
Interesting. To get those gains, you got to be pretty good at reading the market's signals, right?
Absolutely. And those signals can come from multiple places.
Okay.
It's not just one magic formula or anything like that.
Right.
It's a little bit like being a detective, having to piece together clues from all these different sources.
Intriguing. So walk us through it. What are some of the tools of the trade here?
Sure.
The clues that these market detectives are looking for.
Well, first you've got your classic fundamental analysis, which is all about, digging into a company's financial health.
Okay.
Think earnings reports, balance sheets, that kind of thing.
So really understanding the nuts and bolts of the business, seeing if it's built to last.
Exactly. Exactly.
Got it.
Then you've got technical analysis, which is more almost like reading the market's mind. By studying charts and patterns in stock prices, they're looking for indicators that suggest where the price might go next.
So it's almost like a secret code
Yeah.
that only certain people know how to crack.
Kind of, yeah. It's about recognizing patterns that have played out in the past and using that to make, educated guesses about the future.
Right.
And then on top of all that, you've got to look at the macroeconomic factors, things like interest rates, inflation, even geopolitical events, all of which can influence the market's overall direction.
Okay, so it's not just about one company's performance, it sounds like. Position traders are taking this big picture view, considering the whole playing field.
Exactly. They're not just asking, is this a good company? They're asking, is this the right company at the right time in the right market?
Man, that requires some serious foresight. I can already see how this strategy isn't for the faint of heart.
No, it definitely requires a certain mindset. You need to be able to look past the day-to-day fluctuations
Okay.
and trust in your analysis. It's about recognizing that those short-term dips in the market, they're just blips on the radar,
Yeah.
really, when you're playing the long game.
So no panic selling when things get a little bumpy.
Exactly. Patience is key here.
Mm.
But that doesn't mean it's a passive strategy.
Oh. How so?
Well, think about it this way. A good captain doesn't just set sail and hope for the best, right?
Right.
They're constantly adjusting their course, making small corrections based on the wind, the currents,
Yeah.
even the weather.
So even though we're talking about holding these positions for years at a time, position traders aren't just sitting on their hands.
No, not at all. They're always monitoring their investments, looking for signs that their initial analysis might be off or that the market landscape is shifting
Yeah.
in a way they didn't anticipate,
So they're not just blindly riding a trend. They're ready to
Right.
adjust the sails if they need to.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But man, this is starting to sound like a lot of work, honestly. Analyzing financials, deciphering charts, keeping an eye on the global economy. Is it really worth it?
Yeah, it's a good question.
What are the potential rewards here that make all this effort worth it?
Well, I mean, aside from what the article calls the piece of investing,
Right.
that comes with this long-term approach.
Right. Which, let's be honest, in the often chaotic world of investing, sounds pretty priceless.
Right. But I mean, on top of that, the potential for profit can be significant. When you catch a major market wave
Yeah.
and ride it for months or even years, those returns, they can far outweigh those quick short-term gains.
Yeah, it's like the difference between catching a wave on a surfboard versus like sailing across an entire ocean.
Exactly. But as with any investment strategy, it's important to be aware of the potential downsides as well.
Okay.
You know, the rough waters you might encounter along the way.
Let's talk about those for a minute. What does the article flag as some of the potential pitfalls of position trading?
So one of the big ones is liquidity, or rather
Yeah.
the lack thereof. Since your capital is tied up in these long-term positions,
Yeah.
it's not as readily available if an unexpected opportunity arises, or if you need to access those funds for another reason, right?
Right.
It's not as easy as just like hitting a button and immediately cashing out.
Yeah, it's kind of like the difference between parking in your driveway and parking like a few blocks away. Like both will get you where you need to go, but one gives you much faster access to your car if you need it.
That's a great way to put it. Another important consideration is that position trading. It generally requires a larger amount of capital to be truly effective.
Okay, because you've got to be able to ride out those short-term dips
Exactly.
without panicking and
Right, and to diversify your portfolio
yeah,
across multiple positions.
so you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. So if someone only has a small amount to invest, this might not be the way to go.
It might not be no. It's important to be realistic about your investment goals
Hmm.
and your risk tolerance.
Which brings us to, I think, the million-dollar question here. Is position trading right for you?
That's the thing about investing, right? There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Right.
It all comes down to individual circumstances.
So how can someone listening figure out if, if they've got what it takes to be a successful position trader? Like, what questions should they be asking themselves?
Well, it all kind of boils down to a few key questions.
Okay.
First, you got to look at your financial horizon.
Okay.
Are you investing for the long term with like years or even decades before you need to tap into those funds?
Because if you need to cash out quickly, this probably isn't the right strategy.
Right, exactly. It's kind of like, planting an oak tree.
Okay.
You wouldn't do it if you're expecting to like harvest something next spring.
Right.
You got to be in it for the long game.
Right.
The next question is all about risk tolerance.
Okay.
Can you stomach the ups and downs of the market, knowing that your investments might be down temporarily, but trusting that your strategy will play out in the long run?
Right. That takes a certain kind of mental fortitude.
Yeah, for sure.
Not for everyone.
No, not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. And finally, you have to consider, what are your investing goals?
Yeah.
Are you looking for slow and steady growth over time? Or are you chasing, those bigger, more explosive returns?
Right.
Position trading, when done right, can offer the potential for those, like home runs, But it takes patience and discipline to wait for the right pitch.
So it's not just about understanding the strategy itself. It's about understanding yourself as an investor.
Exactly. It's about finding an approach that aligns with, like, your personal financial goals.
Yeah.
Your risk appetite, even your personality, right?
Right.
Some people thrive on, the fast-paced world of day trading, and others prefer the more, like, measured strategic approach of position trading.
Well, in this article from the IFL Knowledge Center, they actually talk about some position traders who have, held on to stocks for a decade or more.
Wow.
Can you imagine, the conviction, the foresight that takes?
Right.
To look at a company or a trend or even the world today and envision what it might become years down the line.
It's incredible. It's a testament to the power of long-term thinking, that's for sure. And it makes you wonder, right? Like, what seemingly insignificant trends happening right now might turn into these massive opportunities 10 years from now.
Right. Now, that's something to think about. It's we're standing on the edge of this, vast ocean of possibilities here.
It is. It is.
And this deep dive into position trading, it's kind of given us a taste of what it takes to navigate those waters. But now it's up to each of you listening to decide, is this a journey you want to embark on? So until next time, happy investing, and may you always find your way to smooth sailing and profitable shores.